Mississippi is still reeling from the loss of a beloved community member, coming together for a peaceful protest to demand justice for 18-year-old Nolan Wells, just 1 week after he went to Horn Island to celebrate the 4th of July with friends and never came home. 2 days after that trip, investigators made the heartbreaking discovery: Wells's body found in the water offshore.
The community of Ocean Springs, Mississippi, is still asking how a 4th of July boat trip ended with 18-year-old Nolan Wells becoming the only person who never returned. His friends brought the boat back to the mainland. Nolan's phone came back with them. His car and keys were still on land, but Nolan remained somewhere on Horn Island, without the device he used to communicate, share his location, and contact his family. 2 days later, a National Park Service ranger found his body in the water near the northwestern end of the island. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office said investigators had not found evidence establishing foul play. Nolan's family heard that statement, looked at the timeline they had been given, and said the explanation still did not make sense. They were told Nolan chose to remain on the island. They were told he expected to catch a ride back with another group. Yet no publicly identified person has said they had agreed to bring him home. His mother later examined his phone and said the photographs, videos, and Snapchat activities she expected to find from that day were missing. Attorney Ben Crump raised questions about a recording that appeared to capture an argument involving a phone. And Nolan's father said one detail remained impossible for him to accept. His son would not willingly stay on an island while the people he arrived with left carrying his phone. Welcome to ABC Crime Room. Before we examine Nolan's final hours, subscribe and turn on your notifications. His family is still asking witnesses who were on Horn Island to provide original photographs and videos, and continued attention may help place the missing parts of this timeline together. Nolan Xavier Wells was 18 years old. He lived in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, and played wide receiver at Southwest Mississippi Community College, where he studied general business. His coaches described him as humble, disciplined, and dependable. His father called him a silent leader, someone teammates followed because of how he worked rather than how loudly he spoke. Nolan was preparing to return to campus for preseason activities. Football training, classes, and the next stage of his life were waiting for him after the holiday weekend. On July 3rd, before leaving to stay with friends, Nolan cooked dinner for his parents. He hugged his mother, kissed her, and told her he loved her. Nothing about that evening suggested the following day would become the beginning of a search. On July 4th, Nolan traveled with friends by boat to Horn Island, a barrier island off Mississippi's Gulf Coast. There is no bridge to Horn Island. There is no road connecting it to Ocean Springs. Visitors arrive by boat and depend on a boat to leave. The island has no permanent neighborhoods, stores, or nearby emergency facilities. Cell phone coverage can be unreliable, particularly away from the busiest shoreline areas. But on Independence Day, the northwestern end of the island was crowded. Boats lined sections of the beach. People gathered in the sand. Groups swam, played music, recorded videos, and celebrated near the water. Photographs from the trip showed Nolan standing with the people he had traveled with. He appeared relaxed, smiling, and close to the group. Then, sometime during the afternoon, the day changed. According to the timeline later made public, Nolan was last seen at approximately 3 o'clock. His friend's boat reportedly left at around 4:30. That leaves roughly 90 minutes between the last reported sighting and the group's departure. What Nolan did during those 90 minutes remains one of the central questions in the case. The account connected to his friends says Nolan chose to stay behind after meeting or speaking with a young woman. He was reportedly expected to return with another group later. But that explanation depends on details that have not been publicly clarified. Who was the young woman? Which group had she traveled with? Who owned the boat Nolan was expected to board? Did anyone in that group personally agree to take him? Did Nolan's friends see him walk toward that boat? Did they exchange numbers with the person responsible for bringing him home? Did they confirm the boat had enough space? Without those details, the plan sounds less like a confirmed ride and more like an assumption. Nolan's parents say that assumption does not match how they raised him. His father, Elmore, repeatedly taught his children one rule when traveling with friends: if you leave together, you return together. Elmore said he specifically warned Nolan not to separate from a group for someone he had only recently met. In his view, Nolan had heard that advice too many times to voluntarily remain on a remote island without a clear way home. Parents do not know every decision an 18-year-old makes. Nolan could have changed his plans. He could have believed another ride was guaranteed. He could have trusted people his parents did not know. But the family's concern is not based only on Nolan's character. It is also based on two different accounts of what he intended to do. One version says Nolan wanted to stay with the young woman. Another reported version says Nolan told that same woman he planned to return to his original boat. Those statements could both be accurate if they were made at different times. Nolan may have first planned to stay and later changed his mind. But if he told her he was returning to the boat, investigators need to determine when that conversation occurred. Was it before 4:30? Was the boat still on the shoreline? Had his friends already started preparing to leave? Did Nolan walk back toward them? Did anyone see him arrive after the boat had gone? The difference between 3:45 and 4:45 could completely change the meaning of that conversation. The boat itself reportedly had a mechanical problem. A public statement connected to one of Nolan's friends said the vessel was taking on water because of an issue involving the bilge pump. A bilge pump removes water that collects inside a boat. If it stops working properly, the situation can become dangerous and may require an immediate return to shore. That explanation could account for the boat leaving earlier or more urgently than expected. But it also creates a new set of questions. When did the group first notice the problem? Was Nolan nearby when it started? Did anyone tell him the boat had to leave? Did the group search the beach before departing? Did someone call his name? Did anyone ask another boat owner to locate him? And when the boat pulled away, did anyone notice Nolan's phone was still on board? That phone is one of the most important pieces of the story. If Nolan knowingly chose to remain on Horn Island, he apparently did so without the device he used throughout the day. No way to call his parents. No way to send his location. No way to contact the group that was supposed to take him home. No way to ask his original friends to return. And no way for anyone on the mainland to reach him. Nolan's mother, Christine, said he regularly used Snapchat. He took photographs, recorded short videos, and sent quick updates to family members. A 4th of July trip with friends, boats, music, and a crowded beach should have produced digital activity. When Christine and her sister later examined the phone, she said they found no saved photographs or videos from the outing. She also said another Snapchat account appeared empty. The family began to suspect that content had been deleted before the phone reached them. That suspicion has not been confirmed by a publicly released forensic report. Snapchat content can disappear automatically. Poor service may prevent posts from uploading. A user may record something without saving it. Files may exist in cloud storage rather than on the physical device. But Christine said they checked the phone before the usual 24-hour period for disappearing content had passed. To her, the absence was not normal. Digital specialists may be able to determine more. They can examine when the phone was unlocked. They can review application databases, location history, connection records, login activity, cloud backups, deleted file entries, and timestamps. They may be able to establish whether anyone accessed the device after the boat returned. They can also seek records from cell phone providers or Snapchat, depending on what still exists. The chain of custody matters because the phone was not immediately with Nolan's family. Who held it after the boat returned? How long did that person have it? Was the device locked? Did anyone know Nolan's passcode? Was it connected to Wi-Fi? Did investigators secure it before relatives opened it? Was data altered through ordinary use or deliberately removed? Those questions cannot be answered through screenshots or speculation. They require a professional forensic examination. The phone is also connected to a recording that circulated online. Attorney Ben Crump referred to footage that appeared to capture some kind of argument. He suggested a voice in the recording may have been Nolan asking for his phone. The complete, original recording has not been publicly authenticated in a way that settles the issue. A reposted clip cannot show investigators everything they need. The original file may contain the exact creation time, location data, longer audio, and additional moments before or after the visible exchange. The context matters. Was Nolan seriously confronting someone? Was it a brief disagreement between friends? Did he receive the phone afterward? Did the argument happen near 3 o'clock or much earlier? Was it connected to why he remained behind? An argument alone does not establish that anyone harmed Nolan. But a disagreement involving the same phone that later returned without him would be relevant to the timeline. Hours after the boat left, Christine still did not know Nolan was missing. She said it was not unusual for him to stay out with friends. He was 18 and sometimes returned later than expected. Then, at 11:07 that night, her phone rang. The caller was Warren, one of the young men who had been on the boat. Christine said Nolan's friends did not normally call her directly. The moment she saw the name, she felt something was wrong. By then, more than 6 hours had passed since the boat reportedly departed Horn Island. That delay has never stopped troubling Nolan's parents. If the group believed Nolan had another ride, when did they begin to doubt that plan? Did they contact the young woman? Did they know which boat she belonged to? Did they check whether Nolan had reached the mainland? Did they attempt to call him before realizing his phone was already with them? When did they first decide he might be in danger? And why did his mother receive that warning at 11:07 rather than earlier in the evening? One of the friends reportedly contacted the Coast Guard around the same period. The Coast Guard confirmed receiving a call, but the public has not heard the full conversation. The wording of that call could answer several questions. Was Nolan reported as missing? Was he described as someone who had voluntarily stayed? Did the caller request a search? Did the caller say another group was expected to bring Nolan home? Did the Coast Guard redirect the matter to local authorities because of jurisdiction? Without the recording or incident report, the late-night call remains open to conflicting interpretations. Christine and Elmore then began contacting law enforcement. According to the family, they were directed between different agencies, including local police, the sheriff's office, and marine authorities. Horn Island's location created uncertainty over which agency should take the report. For the family, those transfers cost time. The people who had spent the day on the island were already leaving. Boats were returning to different marinas. Photographs and videos were being posted, deleted, or lost. Memories of the afternoon were becoming less exact. Eventually, the Jackson County Sheriff's Office took control of the case. A multi-agency search began. The Coast Guard, National Park Service, Marine personnel, local law enforcement, and volunteer organizations searched Horn Island and the surrounding water. Nolan's father joined the effort. Elmore traveled near sections of the island looking for his son, and later said he passed close to the area where Nolan would be found. Horn Island is long, undeveloped, and difficult to search. A person can be near a search route without being visible from a boat. Water also changes a search scene continuously. Tides rise and fall. Currents carry objects. Wind alters direction. A location searched in the morning may look different hours later. People familiar with the island have described strong and unpredictable currents near parts of the shoreline. That provides one possible explanation for Nolan's death. A swimmer can step into water that appears manageable and suddenly be pulled away from shore. Nolan was a college athlete and was described as a capable swimmer. That does not make drowning impossible. A strong current, exhaustion, panic, heat, injury, or an unexpected medical event can overcome even a fit person. But Nolan's family and attorney continue to question why no one saw him struggling. Horn Island was crowded that afternoon. Boats were nearby. People were swimming. If Nolan entered the water in the busy section and experienced trouble, did anyone notice? Did he move to a quieter section of the island? Did he enter the water after most visitors had left? Was he trying to reach another boat? No publicly identified witness has described Nolan's final moments in the water. 2 days after he disappeared, a National Park Service ranger found his body near the northwestern end of Horn Island. The search ended where the mystery had begun. Authorities said drowning was suspected, and that investigators had not found evidence establishing foul play. Those statements did not amount to a final medical conclusion. The state medical examiner still needed to complete the autopsy and toxicology testing. Nolan's family arranged a second autopsy in Washington, D.C., with financial assistance reportedly provided by Colin Kaepernick's organization. Attorney Ben Crump joined the family. Reverend Al Sharpton and other civil rights figures called for transparency. The case moved from a local missing person story to national news. Race also became part of the public discussion. Nolan was black. The friends publicly connected to the boat were white. Photographs from the trip showed Nolan as the only black man in the immediate group. Some people connected the case to Mississippi's history and questioned whether the investigation would receive sufficient scrutiny. Others accused the public of introducing race without evidence. Christine responded by defending her son's friendships. She said Nolan was raised to judge people by their character, not by their skin color. Her question was not why Nolan had white friends. Her question was why the group came home without him. No evidence made public has established a racial motive. No person has been charged with harming Nolan. Crump's position was that it was too early to dismiss any possibility before the evidence had been fully examined. As attention increased, rumors spread faster than verified information. People were publicly named as killers without evidence. Families received threats. Edited clips appeared online. False posts and AI-generated videos complicated the search for reliable information. That does not help Nolan's family. Threatening witnesses may make them afraid to speak. Sharing altered footage may cause real evidence to be overlooked. Declaring someone guilty before investigators complete their work does not produce justice. The people who were with Nolan should be questioned thoroughly. Their timelines should be compared. Their phones and photographs should be examined through lawful procedures, but they should not be convicted through social media. The evidence must answer the case. Who saw Nolan after 3 o'clock? What happened during the 90-minute gap? Was another ride genuinely arranged? Why did his phone leave Horn Island without him? When did the group first realize he had not returned? What was said during the 11 o'clock Coast Guard call? What did Warren tell Christine at 11:07? Does the original argument video show Nolan? Was any digital content removed from his phone? How did he enter the water? And why has no witness publicly described seeing his final moments? Nolan Wells left for Horn Island with friends. The boat returned. His phone returned. His keys and car remained on the mainland. Nolan was found in the water 2 days later. Authorities have not established homicide. No criminal charges have been filed. Drowning remains a possible explanation, but the public still does not have a complete account of how Nolan became separated from the group or what happened after the boat left. His family is not asking strangers to invent a theory. They are asking for the phone to be examined. They are asking for the original videos. They are asking for every witness to provide a complete timeline. They are asking for medical findings that can be independently reviewed. And they are asking why an 18-year-old traveled to an island with people he trusted, only to become the one person who did not return. Subscribe to ABC Crime Room and turn on your notifications for confirmed updates in Nolan's case. Keep the discussion respectful. Do not accuse anyone who has not been charged. The unanswered questions are serious enough without adding claims the evidence has not established. Until the phone, the witnesses, the videos, and the medical findings tell the same story, one fact will continue to trouble Nolan's family. Everyone else came home. Nolan did not.